I'm Daniella, and I spent the last 2 years sailing some of the most remote anchorages in New Zealand and the South Pacific. But now I'm headed back to work, and I'll only be able to adventure part-time. While I've always heard the sailing community was super supportive and easy to become part of, that wasn't my experience to date. So with only the weekends and evenings available for adventuring, and without a local network of sailing friends, how was I going to find my people and meet my strong need for regular adventure in my life, while also going to work? So, like most people, we started sailing through racing. It's really funny because a lot of the sailors that we met, they were just completely living in a different reality than us.
It's easy to grin when your ship comes in and you've got the stock market beat.
We got advice such as, don't buy a boat less than $500,000, don't buy a boat less than 50 feet.
But the man worthwhile is the man who can smile when his shorts are too tight in the seat.
One guy, well, this is really special, he suggested that we buy 2 boats and then we could sail around for a year and see which one we're comfortable with and then go sell one of them.
Don't act funny, you need my money. Don't come back, go keep that dummy. What you got, don't need that honey. Keep that dummy, keep that dummy.
And it was so unrealistic for us because, like, when we bought Satori in 1990 40-foot whiting, she was already double our budget, or double our original budget. So when we got this advice, it was like, oh my god, like, these people were just living in a completely different reality. And if I'm completely honest, it was a bit disheartening because we were hoping to find our fellow sailing community that we had heard so much about. But then we heard this advice and it was just like,
Well, don't just stand there. Go get some glue.
oh dear. These people. I want that much money. Give me the money.
Hi, my name's Chris Crone. I'm the Vice Commodore of the Richmond Yacht Club. I think people might have this preconceived notion of sailing as being something for folk who have lots of money and a particular type of person, but really sailing is open to everyone. Particularly Westhaven, the history of Westhaven is full with people who just come down after work with their kids and go for a sail. And that's really at Richmond what we're trying to do is encourage just people to come out for a sail and enjoy the sport. We've got a beautiful harbour, one of the most beautiful harbours in the world, I'd say, and it's right for sailing, and we just really want as many people as possible to enjoy it.
So we thought that maybe what we needed to do is be around people who were more within our budget range. So we actually started sailing on a Cavalier 26 with this guy, and he was super great, and we met a lot of sailors through him that were probably more within our budget range, but we still got such a huge range of advice. Like, people would say, buy a heavy boat because it can handle the seas better. Buy a catamaran because it can be more comfortable. Buy a lighter boat because then you'll go faster and you can avoid the big weather. And because we didn't have the experience, we didn't know how to filter through all that advice. And if I'm completely honest, at times it could be very overwhelming and extremely intimidating. It is way too hot out here. I'm gonna have to go inside.
Everyone wants to give their advice, for sure. Yes. You said ask one question and you get an advice everywhere, which you just want to soak it in when you're new to buying a boat and being a boat owner. You just want to listen to everything. My one crewmate, he's like, it's hard living on a boat. It's like, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I know, and I'm a rugged person. I've lived on a boat before, and as a child, I know it's gonna be. Yeah, it's not all glamorous and fucking la-di-da. It's tough, and
That's part of the appeal, though.
Totally, exactly. It's accomplishing that tough shit, isn't it?
Alright, this is much more comfortable, and now I can snuggle with the dogs. Also, did you guys see my pillow? I found this at a thrift store for like $3. It's my new favorite pillow. Anyways, where was I in my story? Oh yeah, at some point, I kind of figured out that, like, it didn't matter who we interacted with, there were always going to be naysayers. And there's one story in particular that stands out to me, that kind of like made this a lesson in my head. And yeah, I want you to meet Trish. She is the former Commodore, I believe, or Vice Commodore of the Richmond Yacht Club. And she single-handed the solo Trans-Tasman challenge on a Whiting 25 reactor, or Reactor 25, which is one of the boats that I mentioned that I want because of this story, actually. And she did it with a hearing disability, which is crazy. And she had so many naysayers. So yeah, here's her story.
Someone else at Richmond Yacht Club was talking of doing it, and talking of the fact the boat they were looking at didn't have a good enough stability rating, and I knew the reactor I had then did. So that put it in my mind that the boat I had was capable of doing it. Some people didn't think that I should be doing the race in such a small boat. The biggest fear was huge waves.
Yeah.
That was by far my biggest fear, being rolled over by huge waves. And when I did Coast Guard course, I was shown a video in a terrible storm shot from the deck of a container ship with huge waves. So when I did the race, I thought that was huge waves, and the waves I got were a lot smaller than in the video. So I never thought the waves were that bad. Once I started, it was a lot easier because all I had to do was concentrate on sailing the boat, and there was no question, I was committed. So it wasn't making myself do it, I was already doing it. But the race organisers were really understanding, and although everyone else in the race did radio skeds, they let me do email skeds instead. So I never had to be able to hear anything during the race. One of them turned around on the first night, decided it wasn't for him. One of them pulled out halfway through with an injury, and the rest all finished, but quite a few had various elements of damage, I guess, to the boats.
Yeah.
No damage. The chart plotter died, but no structural damage at all, no. Give it a go, and there will be times when you're frightened, but if you battle through, it'll really, really be worth it.
So eventually we took off full-time sailing, and this is where we thought that our community, or like getting to know our sailing community, our own community, would really ramp up. And in some ways it did, but pretty much everyone we met through the Sailing Pivo YouTube channel, right? Like we met Paul that way.
Hey, Pivo, keep it down!
Ralph, who's in one of the episodes in season 1.
As long as there's no old boys on the dock, we'll be fine. It's when all the old fucking seagulls show up and they're like, oh yeah, look at this guy.
And I found myself thinking, like, well, what do people do who don't have sailing channels? How do they meet their community? The obvious answer is a yacht club, but at this point, we still had some pretty preconceived notions about what a yacht club entailed. Like, it just, in my head, it was snooty. I don't know why, like, I had this idea. Probably movies or something like that, but, like, yeah, we were really against yacht clubs.
Did you see that? That was cool.
All right, let's tie her off and kick back some cold ones, huh? Hey, come and see her. You want a minute? Yeah, I guess I'll go with a margarita, huh? Yeah. Hey!
Okay, so then something happened, of course. We stopped sailing and we had to retrieve Satori, and I ended up spending a lot of time at Gulf Harbor Marina cleaning up Satori. Got her in November and we sold her in March, so 4 or 5 months I would see these people quite often, and I started to develop that sense of community that we had all along wanted, but actually when we were full-time sailing we really didn't have.
Are you ready, Mike?
Am I going to be on YouTube? I'm a star, it's my 15 seconds of fame.
And something clicked that I had not thought of. It's a big duh. I feel a little stupid even saying it right now. But yeah, when I was on the pier and I was there every single day, there was consistency in the relationship, right? I was seeing the same people every single day. But when we were full-time sailing and we were moving around a lot, there was no consistency. We weren't seeing people every single day.
Yeah, hi, I'm Gillian Williams. So I'm the Vice Commodore at the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. People talk about the connections that they make. So I guess for me, I've been a member for sort of 25 odd years, and you go into the club and you see people who you've been sailing with for 25 odd years, and I think it's those long lasting connections.
So then at some point in time, we sold the boat. Change is inevitable, change happens. And Gulf Harbor Marina was no longer the most convenient marina for me to sail out of. So everyone that I spoke to on Facebook about finding a boat and building my community, they said the same thing: join a yacht club. So there's 4 main yacht clubs that are within the West Haven Marina area, which is my preferred marina to sail out of. There's the Ponsonby Yacht Club, the Richmond Yacht Club, and the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. I have a little bit of loyalty towards the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron because I founded a non-profit organization, the International Development Young Professionals Network, before I left to go sailing, and the squadron donated a ton of resources to us and space, and they were just super responsive, and they didn't charge me a thing, and so they have my loyalty. And to be honest, they also host some really, really awesome events. I've been to more events at the squadron than any other yacht club.
We've also got the Super Cruiser division.
Your competitor end up down track.
We offer a lot of yacht races and a lot of different things to different people. Learn to sail is something, like adult learn to sail is something that we have developed over the last sort of 5 years, and it's taken off massively. Like, people want to learn to sail.
But then I also went to Richmond Yacht Club because I had heard through the Women to Sail group that it was a really, really open and welcoming club. And when I went to visit Richmond Yacht Club, they have this really cool workshop in their basement that is completely, all of their members donated different parts. Like, there's a sailing or sail like sewing machine, and there's like different drills and stuff like that that you can use for free if you're a member. And I was like, oh, that's really freaking cool. So I went to visit them both. What would people say about RYC, your members? How would they describe it themselves?
I think that describe it as a really social, friendly club that really loves its sailing.
I think there's a bit of prestige around the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. So we're the holders of the America's Cup. So we do have people that join because of the prestige, I guess. We're also big, so we offer a lot of yacht races and a lot of different things to different people.
For so long, I had this preconceived notion in my head of what these yacht clubs entailed, and for so long, Connor and I put off finding that sailing community that we had so desired because we had this idea of what yacht clubs were, and neither one of them are like that.
I think at the end of the day, you join a club for the friendships, and the more you put in, the more you get out.
Well, one of my clubmates, Mark, put it best, I think, that Richmond's a really inclusive club, not an exclusive club. Anyone can join it, anyone can take part in it. We're social, and we're here to have a good time and go out for a bit of a sail.
But if you go look at YouTube videos of people who are doing this sailing around the world thing, one of the things they will always say is the hardest part about this lifestyle is saying goodbye. And I realized that I don't have to say goodbye here. I got a yacht club. As I go into this new year, and I have these scary things ahead of me, as you guys would have seen in my live update and another episode that I did, that it's cool to think that I'm gonna have a community here in Auckland that I can share that thrill and adventure with, and also grow to be close friends and not go through these experiences alone.
I think you approach the club and say, I'd like to try sailing on a boat, and could you hook me up with a skipper? And any good yacht club would hopefully put you with a skipper that suited your personality. And there's so many boat owners that would be very happy to take an extra person out.
That's exactly how I joined, so.